Hi, so I'm Corey, and today we are going to be going over how to put together a technical theater resume and portfolio and how the whole college audition process sort of works. Since I just went through it, I am going to tell you all about my personal experience and then I'll go over some of the general stuff that y'all should know. So, for me personally, I applied to 8 different schools all across the US and I got into all 8 of them, and then I decided to end up going to the University of Cincinnati College Conservatory of Music. It is one of the best programs in the country, and I am super happy to be going there. I'm going for costume design and technology, but throughout high school, I have done virtually everything throughout tech, and I have discovered throughout this college audition process that a lot of the stuff for other technicians will be the exact same. So I'm going to make this video for anyone who's about to apply or who is throughout the process of applying right now. So let's first go over your resume and portfolio. What I did for my resume is I listed everything that I did since I started leading the costumes at my school. And a lot of the times I wouldn't just costume, I would do costumes and something else, and I made sure to put that in my resume as well. And just your resume is saying who you are, what you are, all the shows you've done, where, when, and so on and so forth. And your portfolio is sort of where they get to see you and what you've done and how you accomplished it. What I did in mine was I listed the shows that I did in order of when I did them. And I would put pictures of the pre-show pictures, the during show pictures, and the after show pictures. And if I did a lot for the show, then I would put a sort of page at the beginning before the pictures, and I would just type out everything I did for that show, so that way they had a bit of something to go off of once they started looking at the pictures. And so whenever you're working on your resume and portfolio, I would definitely say vary your work as much as you can, so that way they know that you're diverse, and that way you can show off all of your talents as opposed to being really good at one thing. They can see that you're really good at a lot of stuff. Whenever making your resume and portfolio, you should really know what you're trying to go after. Since I knew I was going into costuming, my resume sort of listed everything that I had done, but my portfolio was definitely most, if not all, costuming. So definitely gear your portfolio towards what you're going, and your resume should list sort of everything that you have done. And whenever talking about both of those, you should definitely know college-wise where you are wanting to go. So are you wanting to go in-state or out-of-state? Are you wanting to go to a big or a small school? Are you wanting to go to a public or private? Or are you wanting to go to a conservatory? All of these things are things that you should look up and be ready to know in your college process. Now, getting past that, I would definitely say don't limit yourself throughout this process. I applied to 8 schools and I got into all of them, and I apparently I could have pushed myself to go even further reach schools, but I felt like my reaches was pretty far reaching, and I just got lucky. So I would say definitely don't limit yourself, because who knows, you might get lucky too, and you could get into everywhere you applied. And if you applied for a super reach school and you get in, that's great, and you'll be with a lot of good people. Let's go on to auditioning and interviewing. Now, this was my favorite part of the whole process, because you really got to show who you are, what you've done, how you've done it, and get to interact with other people. I would say that whenever getting into auditioning and interviewing, you need to know that the process is very different than if you were just applying regularly for college. Because for this and college-wise, whenever you're applying, you are normally going to apply generally to the university, and then once you get accepted into the university, then they will contact you and they will sort of start setting stuff up more for theater wise. Some of them won't, and some of them will just do everything all at once. But I have had quite a few of the schools that I've done do that, as well as a couple of my friends who have done sort of similar things. Whenever going into your interviews, you need to prepare answers to questions that you know they are going to ask you, just like general stuff about you. What's your greatest strength, your weakness, all that stuff. You have it prepared. And then also have prepared questions to ask the college, because they're definitely at the end of the interview, every single one I did, they always asked, okay, now do you have any questions for us? And you need to have questions prepared for them, because at that moment you show them how much research you have put into their college and show them how interested you are in them, which can play a big deal in it. Definitely when interviewing, you need to be confident in yourself and your work, because if you aren't confident in it, how are they going to be confident in you and putting you into their program? Whenever they come up and either for the actual audition or they're just interviewing you at like a mass college sort of thing, you've got to really put your best foot forward and show them what you did. You got to show them how you did it. You got to show them the circumstances you were in while you were doing it. Everything that you think even slightly matters, you need to tell them, because it's part of your story. When auditioning, I would definitely say do mass college auditions, because whenever I first started planning my college stuff, I had about 5 colleges in mind, and I actually only ended up applying to like 3 of them. And whenever I went to the mass college audition, the North Texas drama auditions, that is whenever I got called back to like 18 schools, and I ended up picking 5 of those schools to actually apply to, which gets me into my next point of, if you do a mass college audition and then you decide to apply to one of the schools from that, email the people who you talked to at the audition that you have applied, because I have a story about how that worked in my favor. How I ended up talking to this person from Pepperdine while I was there, and I had already, at that point, I hadn't really considered them, but after that, I applied, I emailed the person, and they were like, okay, great, we're going to flag your application, and I was like, okay, that's great, but by the time that stuff was coming to be due, I had already decided that I had gotten into Cincinnati, and that's where I was going to go. So I didn't finish their theater application part, but I had finished their university application. And then I find out whenever they submit all of their stuff for if you got in or not, that I was part of, I think, 7.5% of people to get into their Seaver college. And I got in without finishing my theater application because of the impression that I made at that mass college audition with that interviewer. So definitely know what you're talking about, know everything about you, and know how to sell yourself whenever it comes to auditions and interviews. This is definitely something that I would say, if you are going to take anything from this, take this, and it is apply early. If you apply early, you get access to so much more things. They will, a lot of the colleges, if not all of the ones that I applied to, would automatically get you signed up for all the scholarships if you applied early, and instead of you having to do that, you automatically got into all of them, so it was a lot less work on your part. And I would say definitely use your resources / your directors, because they are there to help you. They know what the process is like, and they can give you a whole bunch of information that you wouldn't know by yourself without them telling you. Because I had a lot of information given to me about the mass college auditions from my directors, and I know that without their help, I would not have been able to be as prepared as I was for those auditions. And whenever it comes to actually hearing back from the schools, again, Some of the schools will tell you all at once. Some of the schools you'll find out about the college and then the theater, and you really just got to look at the applications and on their websites for whenever it tells you if once you apply you'll hear back in 2 weeks, or if there's a certain date that they will send out everybody's acceptances on. That is sort of a you thing that you should look up on your own. But I think that is pretty much it about the audition process. If you have any more questions, you can comment them, or I will put my Instagram in the description box below, and you can contact me there. Anyway, so it was nice talking to y'all. See you later. Bye.